Hello, everyone. I'm QA editor Jason Brill. I want to welcome everyone to today's virtual conference on pest control in food facilities. As long as humans have been farming, producing, processing, and storing food, they've had to deal with pests able to wreak havoc on that food. Pest control has, of course, evolved significantly over time. Even now, new technologies are being developed for pest detection, prevention, and elimination, particularly related to rodents and stored product insects. Sponsored by Bell Laboratories, ActiveSense, Sutera, and Woodstream, this conference will aim to provide a fundamental understanding of today's technologies, their benefits for proactive and preventive pest control, and their applications with respect to today's global standards and regulations. You'll hear from speakers such as Janet Hurley, Dr. James Campbell, and Christy Grozowinski, along with messages from our sponsors. Note, the views expressed in presentations made during this virtual event are those of the speakers and not necessarily the GIE Media Group or excuse me, the QA Media Group or GIE Media. Presentations during the virtual event or the participation of the vendors during the virtual event does not constitute an endorsement of the vendor or speaker's views, products, or services. A little bit about the format today. Each of our presenters will have about an hour to speak, which includes a Q&A. We encourage you to ask questions by typing them into the Q&A interface that's at the bottom of your screen. We'll collect those questions throughout, and at the end of each session, we'll do a Q&A with that speaker. In between sessions, we'll hear from our sponsors on the great things that they've got going on. And with that, we'll kick things off to our first sponsor. I'd like to welcome Vijay Pai, General Manager at Pest Division at Sutera. Pai joined Sutera in 2022 to launch the Commercial Pest Division, bringing the company's state-of-the-art innovations to the commercial and residential pest control industry. And with that, I will hand things off to you, Vijay.
Great, thank you. Jason, can you just confirm you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome, thank you so much. And also to Liz and the whole staff at QA Magazine for hosting this great webinar here. So yeah, I'll be talking today about CheckMate Puffer IMM, an exciting new product that Sutera will be launching actually next week. So great timing on this. But first, before I actually talk about the product, maybe it's good to just talk about Sutera for those who might not be aware of what we do or who we are. So Sutera is wholly owned by the wonderful company, which also makes wonderful pistachios, almonds, Fiji water, palm juice, and halo oranges. So Sutera started with pheromones back in the early 80s, and we have a rich experience and knowledge of pheromone chemistry, entomology, and chemical ecology. So what we do is we specialize in biorational pheromone-based pest control products. We're actually the #1 pheromone company in agriculture. And just about 2 years ago, we applied those same trusted innovations and great chemistry to commercial and residential spaces with the launch of our new commercial pest division. So in all, we have about 3 million pest control products deployed worldwide in 25 different countries. So our products are really driven by science. We're based out of Bend, Oregon, out in the Pacific Northwest, and we have the largest dedicated pheromone plant in the world. So our products are made in the US, and we have kind of proven high quality, innovative products that we operate at scale and offer to our trusted growers and pest management professionals across the world. So enough about the company, now to the exciting part about the new product that I mentioned. So CheckMate Puffer IMM. CheckMate Puffer IMM is an automated aerosol pheromone emitter that provides large food facilities control against Indian meal moth for half of a year. So it's an environmentally friendly, non-toxic pheromone product. So it uses pheromone synthetics to employ mating disruption as a mode of action as opposed to traditional insecticide methods. And it can be used in all areas where stored food is held, such as food manufacturing, processing, storage, distribution, and even retail spaces. And with one device, you can cover about 7,300 square feet. So this makes this device ideal for large foods processing and storage facilities with a large area of effective control. So probably good to just provide a primer for those maybe a little less familiar with the pest or even mating disruption as a method. Indian meal moth is one of the more common moth pest species that infest stored grain and stored products. I'm sure a lot of people already know that, but it's a big problem for what I assume is several of you listening to this webinar, infesting, beans, bird seed, cereals, nuts, pet foods, you name it. The adults are non-feeding, while the larvae are external feeders of stored food products, and they can leave a silken visible thread when feeding, along with their excrement called frass, which contaminates food. And this, along with the overall damage that they cause to the high value products in facilities across the world, make this a fairly serious pest for anyone that's handling stored food. And then just quickly, again, a primer for maybe those who are not familiar with mating disruption. It's a method of pest control that uses a pest's own pheromones against itself. So male moths use sex pheromones to locate and mate with females. And our products, what they do is they disperse a synthetic replicate of this species-specific pheromone into the air. And what that does is it confuses the male moths. They're not able to pinpoint females, which it's kind of a simplified version of what happens. But this, in essence, inhibits mating and reduces offspring and future generation of pests, which leads to the ultimate control of said pest. So with regards to this product specifically, the Puffer IMM, as I mentioned, is an automated aerosol device that works for 180 days of control. So the device, when turned on, puffs pheromone into the air automatically every 30 minutes for 24 hours a day, and one puffer will cover 7,300 square feet. It works on Indian meal moths, Plodia interpunctella, but it also can work on other species in the Infestia of Mediterranean flute moth, raisin moths, and a few other moth species. So the product in full, when it's ordered from Sutera, includes this aerosol can. It comes with the pre-programmed puffer, what we call a cabinet, but it's just this device that houses the can that automatically will spray the can. And it comes with 4 AA batteries, but it also comes with a hook for easy placement within a facility. And then just quickly to mention, the product is EPA registered. We also have state registrations in California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Colorado, and we're pursuing a few other states as well. So this can fit into, any food safety or pest control IPM program that some of the listeners might have. So with specifically to some of the usage considerations, the puffer, as I mentioned, comes pre-programmed. So all you really have to do is just open up the cabinet and turn it on, and then it'll be set to puff every 30 minutes for 180 days. So the device is to be hung at least 7 feet off the ground, and best practice is to put it above the level of the commodity that you're protecting. So some of these facilities, we did a whole bunch of early demos for some nut processors in the valley just these last months, and there they have storage bins stacked 4 high, so we put them above the commodity there. So essentially, you can hang it from structural beams with magnetic hooks, from ceiling joists or rafters, just making sure that the aerosol is able to permeate in the space. So common sense kind of applies to the puffer deployment here. You want to place it so that the spray is directed away from walls and not directly going into open food sources, or not under like suction hoods or air outtakes or exhausts. And then just from kind of a safety perspective, there's no worry, concern of the product from a chemical residues perspective or exposure to workers, given that it's this non-toxic pheromone equivalent, and we have EPA registration. And this class of chemicals, straight chain lepidopteran pheromones, are considered exempt from setting of a tolerance level in the USA, and also exempt from residue settings in other geographies such as the European Union. So the product can work and will while workers are present. Sutera can also just help you in suggesting where to hang the device. I mentioned one for every 7,300 square feet. So if you contact our customer care, we can help you get set up with a facility map and where to hang the device. But once up, the devices don't really need to be played with. You just set it and forget it. Doesn't need to be checked on. It'll work, as I mentioned, without fail for 180 days. So just quickly, some case studies that we've no history. We've been R&D in this product for quite a few years now. So we have about 30 some efficacy trials from 5 different countries that we run. Here's just a quick look at one of those from a wheat processor. We did a longevity study of about 3 years to test the efficacy with that customer. We wanted to help the customer. They were looking for a solution, really having a tough time dealing with Indian meal moth in their facility. So we installed 4 puffers in their facility, switching them out rather every 6 months. So we provided continuous control. You can see from the data here, this is the IMM catches from their monitoring devices. You can see a severe reduction in the population over time, and you can see the control there in yellow. They're seeing some seasonal peaks, and corresponding with those in the actual test mills, you can see a significant reduction in the IMM activity. So at the end of the trial, the customer was quite happy and indicated that they wanted to get their hands on the product as soon as, we were going through registration at the time, but as soon as it was commercially ready, which we were happy to, now that it is registered, engage with them. And then here, just another quick mention of another case study that we had done here in the US. I don't know where you're at here on the webinar, but here in California, we did a test with a nut processor. So this was just a 6-month test, just to get their feedback and try to help them with an Indian meal moth problem. So we implemented 8 puffers in their facility. Again, they historically had trouble controlling for this, and we're doing spot sprays, fumigations, and anything else that they could to rid the problem. And you can see from some of this test data here from that study, we got the product in early in the season, and you can see from the control versus the test group, the area that was the control with no pheromones saw high levels of Indian meal moth, while the test group showed trap inhibition in the catches, meaning that the product was working. So yeah, that's the quick version of my presentation. Again, we're about to launch this puffer IMM product. We're super excited after a long journey of R&D and research. So in summary, it's just a new tech in this industry. It provides long-lasting control of the product and proven efficacy against the pest. And it's a good, cost-effective, low labor way to solve the Indian meal moth problem. So thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thanks so much, Vijay. We have a couple questions. So first one, does the product need to be protected or covered when using it? And if not, can it be used near an intake for grain drying vessels?
The product doesn't need to be protected or covered. So you can see from the picture, a fully functioning automated encapsulated device. So the aerosol can is housed within the cabinet. So you pretty much just hang it, and you don't need to cover anything or do any modifications. As I mentioned, you just you can see from the picture there, you'll just flick a switch on, it'll puff, and then you close it and you can hang it. Hopefully that answers the question.
Does it have an expiration date?
So we rate all of our products with a 2-year shelf life. So these pheromone products are quite shelf stable, and you'll see on the label the storage directions. But yeah, every one of our products is 2-year shelf life.
And then what should we expect when we're implementing the mating disruption puffers in our facility?
Yeah, so what you'll expect, just from a timing perspective, you're going to want to place the devices before that first peak of flights from the Indian meal moths. That's best practice, and that'll help, you know, achieve this control. And then what you can expect is you'll probably see some moths active if there already is a population. It's the pheromone, the sex pheromone, so the males are probably going to be confused, and you might see them flying. But then over time, you'll see a reduction, and you'll see trap inhibition, so a lower trap count in your monitoring that you should have around your facility.
Thanks so much, VJ, for that presentation, and thank you, Satara, for being part of this.
Yeah,
Absolutely. If you asked a question and we didn't get to it, we will send those along to our speakers to try to get you answers to those questions. And then I do want to remind everyone that these will be available to rewatch on our website a few days after this event. Thanks, VJ.
Yeah, take care, guys. Appreciate the time.